It was a wonderful opportunity to learn about labor costs, food control costs. Just a fabulous experience.
I completely agree. Hi, welcome to this edition of On Tap, presented by FCSI The Americas. I'm Wade Kaler, Executive Director. On Tap this week is a woman who has been scheduled for every season of On Tap, and yet we have never had a chance to get her on the show. She's a rock star volunteer for FCSI, always there to help for anything we need, and has been an active member for well over the 15 years that I've been involved. She's been a top achiever for FE&S Magazine, Consultant of the Year for FER, and multiple awards from FCSI The Americas. Please welcome the founder and principal of Culinary Options, Miss Karen Malody. Hi, Karen. Welcome to the show.
Hey, finally.
Finally.
We did it.
The evasive consultant.
I know. Crazy travel schedule.
It is. And we, like I said, we've tried this. This is season 5, I believe, at least 4 seasons now.
I know.
The previous 3. And it just always worked out to where the days we were having to film, you just ended up weren't available. And I think one of the times you were going to be available, we had you on the schedule, and like the week of, you had to cancel for a client. And, you know, Those clients get in the way sometimes.
They do. God bless them. But they do.
You got to pay the bills.
Pesky clients.
Exactly. Well, I am very happy that you're on the show. We've known each other for a number of years now.
Yeah.
I always love talking to you. And so I'm really looking forward to I think a lot of people know you, but this is going to be an opportunity for a lot of those consultants that maybe are intimidated by you, which I know is hard to believe, but you're kind of famous in FCSI. So for younger people or whatever, they might be a little intimidated to come introduce themselves. This will give them a chance to know Karen a little bit better, and maybe next time at a conference or an event or something, they'll feel a little more comfortable to walk up and say hello.
Well, I hope they aren't, because I'm all for new consultants and supporting in any way I possibly can. So
I agree.
I want everyone to know that.
As you know, we like to start off everybody with the same set of questions, and that is, tell us a little bit about Karen Malody. How did you get your start, and what led you into being a full-time food service consultant and starting your own firm?
As many people who know me know, I used to be a psychiatric social worker. And I discovered after many years of education and work in that industry that it really wasn't my passion. Yeah. So I took a job, mid-70s, behind a cheese counter for minimum wage after being a professional in another world. And everyone thought I was crazy. And I said, well, could be, but I'm going to do it anyways. And from that, it really was the beginning of my career. I worked behind the counter for about 2 months, realized I would shoot myself if that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. So I started a series of classes on cheese making, and that led into cooking with cheese classes. That led to a feature in Bon Appetit magazine, and ultimately led me to start my own cooking school and catering service in Seattle. A number of restaurateurs took my classes, and from that, I was offered a job as menu development director for a large group of restaurants in Seattle. It was a wonderful opportunity to learn about labor costs, food control costs. Just a fabulous experience. And then I went from there to becoming vice president of food, beverage, and product development for Larry's Markets, which was a very high-end and real supermarket forward with food service in America, really, at the time.
Yeah.
Fabulous group of supermarkets. that had cafes and multiple concepts I was able to develop, et cetera, within their four walls. And from there, I was recruited to become food and beverage and menu development director for Starbucks, and was there to help them transition from being pretty much retailers at that point into being food service people also.
Okay.
So, there was a lot of learning about what it means to have food on premise, even if you're not heating it, rotation, food costs, waste, etc. So,
Yeah.
After leaving Starbucks in 1997, about 2002, I think, I said, enough of this. I've learned so much. There's so much for me to share. So I started my own consultancy, and here I am, 25 years more or less later, still paying the bills.
Yeah. So with Culinary Options, what is it that you kind of specialize in when it comes to working with your clients? What is your ideal client, I guess I would ask, for Karen and Culinary Options?
Well, one of my specialties, and I really do attribute this to my background in psychiatric social work, is really about what I call visioning and
Mm-hmm.
ideation work, where I have the opportunity to come in and work with the client to help them understand themselves better. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? What is the
Mm-hmm.
result of you would like to see if you're doing
Mm-hmm.
this? Should you be doing this, etc. Now, the first 15 years of my consultancy, I worked primarily with restaurants. In the last 8 to 10 years, I have shifted almost exclusively to non-commercial work,
Okay.
because what became evident is during that time, 8, 10 years ago, non-commercial operators and clients were beginning to realize that actually restaurants were their competition, and they
Yeah.
needed people with that kind of background and that kind of thinking with regards to concept development, menu development, which are my other two strong uh, uh, skill sets. They needed to be clear, just like any
Yeah.
restaurant on the street. How do we compete with the street?
Right.
How do we offer dynamic concepts and food within our four walls and have it
Right.
be financially feasible,
Right.
and all of that good stuff, same as a
Right.
restaurateur would go through.
Right.
And as you probably know, Wade, part of my work is my simultaneous passion about keeping up with equipment innovation.
Yeah.
As a menu developer and someone with an operational viewpoint, if I don't know what equipment can do, both for food and labor, then I don't believe I'm an effective consultant. So you may remember I fought long and hard when I first joined FCSI to be invited to
Mm-hmm.
manufacturer
Yep.
seminars, because as an MAS person, it was like, well, you don't spec equipment. Why should we spend our money having you come?
Right.
And
Right.
I would say one of the things I'm most proud of is the relationships I've developed with manufacturers, and my appreciation for how they offer educational input and have helped me grow as a professional
Yeah.
enormously.
I want to expand a little bit on that too, because as long as I've known you, um, you've preached about the importance of MAS, which for us, to give a quick definition, MAS in FCSI world is management advisory services, which kind of is a catch-all, if you will, of restaurant or of front of the house management, menu development, recipe development, accounting, marketing, down the road. It's
Right.
basically anything that's not a kitchen architect designer, essentially. But you've always preached about how important it is, even for a design project, to have an MAS person either involved or you having one of a designer become involved. And over the years, you've spoken on multiple panels for me, and even before me, as far as how to work together better with other consultants and your other colleagues. And I know you partner with a lot of your colleagues, who some would view as competition. You've really never, in my experience, in my observation of you, I've never really seen you look at it that way. It's always been like, look, I can work with somebody else, even if we go after the same projects once in a while. It doesn't matter. They're not really competition because there's enough out there. Um, and
Totally.
you've never seen that. So how do you recommend to work together? I mean, how does a designer that doesn't necessarily can think about the MAS side, what should they be looking for, and why should they be looking for somebody, and what should they be looking for is the first question. And then the vice versa. If you're mainly a MAS person, maybe you're not familiar with FCSI much because you think we're all designers, which a lot of our members are. But what should they be? Why should they be involved, and what's in it for them as a management consultant to be a part of FCSI as well?
So, first of all, absolutely. I don't even like the word competitors. Yes, fine. We're all in this business. There's room for everybody. And every consultant isn't for every client, and every client isn't for every consultant. So let's just start there.
Yeah. Yep.
I would say at this point also, I get my work probably at least 30, if not 40% of my work comes from invitation from designers, my design friends. Some designers have MAS capacity on their teams, some don't. Many designers have had operational experience themselves, but they don't necessarily want to dig into those details of what's the vision, what are the best concepts for you to put in your food hall, for example, based on
Mm-hmm.
trends under just macro dynamics that are going on in the food industry. They typically do not want to get involved in menu development. What should
Right.
be on a menu? Because in my work, uh, way, the hierarchy of how I believe the ideal scenario is you start with vision. Once you're clear about what it is you're trying to accomplish and create, now you can begin to go down into concept development. What
Mm-hmm.
concepts are going to support that vision? Then
Yeah.
menu development, just straw man menus. It doesn't have to literally be a whole menu, but what
Yeah.
kinds of food are you going
Right.
to serve to make that concept come to life?
Right.
Once that work is done, then, and in my mind, only then, ideally, should design come into the equation. So if you don't know what you're
Yeah.
cooking, if you don't know what the concepts are, what is it you're really designing? Now, I know a lot of my design friends are asked to design kitchens all the time when that
Yeah.
there has not been an operator chosen.
Right.
Therefore, there really isn't any real discrete menu development. But what I'm also finding, Wade, is if I am able to become part of the team early on, I can help the client become very refined in their thinking about the
Right.
concepts and menus. That then becomes part of the RFP, and
Yep.
anyone who wants to bid on the job essentially is told, here's our program, here's our
Yep.
vision. We've done that
Yeah.
work. Take it or don't
Yep.
take it. Don't sign
Right.
up. Did that answer
Yeah.
any of your questions?
It answered everything I was asking for. Absolutely. Because I think you're right about the designer. Sometimes they have to design the box that they don't have. They're not giving the information because there is no information.
Right.
And that I know from talking to designers over the years, that's the most frustrating job for them as well, because they're the ones to blame when the flow doesn't go right then later on. The kitchen doesn't flow the way it should. Well, that's because we didn't know what the menu is going to be like. We didn't know how much prep work or, saute
Exactly.
stations or grills or whatever should have been in that kitchen and where it should have been placed. They almost have to design a generic kitchen at that point that can
Correct.
make for anything. And then it's not the ideal kitchen for that exact operation. So I know even for them, if they can get you involved or another MAS or whatever it is to kind of pull that information out of the operator as much as possible, it's better for client down the road.
Absolutely. Well, and it, another, I guess I would have to say, especially that has developed over the years, and in part because somebody had to do it, and that is the whole issue of POS technology and
Oh yeah.
how technology fits into the design
Yep.
as well as the customer experience and what I call the customer journey,
Yep.
which we spent a lot of time on at Starbucks, and I'm so grateful for that learning. So I offer a viewpoint throughout a project is be the customer.
Yep.
Let's walk through what we've designed here and what we've
Yep.
mapped out. Does it make sense to the customer? Where are we going to have problems? Where is it
Yep.
confusing? Where are the lines going to form, making it impossible to walk through the facility? On and
Yep.
on. So I have become a bit of a POS expert. It was not a
Good.
goal in life, but I am delighted to have learned what I've learned because it is now an enormous part.
Yeah. It's become not. It's not a cash register anymore. It's a brains.
No,
It's
not
the
at
brains of
all.
the entire operation,
Not
and
at
that
all.
brains at times need to be seen by people that aren't even on site. So those
Yeah,
brains have to be able to be accessed from anywhere at any point, and they're getting smarter where the whole kitchen is now hooked up, and you can see, you can adjust temperatures, you can everything available through that POS system at times. So
exactly.
they've become much more complicated.
It's much more complicated. And I also just want to reiterate that I just really think that the teamwork of an MAS consultant with the design consultant is absolute a marriage made in heaven. I
I
love
agree.
working with my design friends on all of these projects because we do come at the entire picture through slightly different lenses. So
Yep.
I'm able to learn constantly from the lens of my design friends, and hopefully vice versa.
Well, that kind of leads me into my next question is a little bit of a trickier one probably for you, but who's been your greatest influence in your professional life?
Well, there have been so many, truly. I would say in my professional life, certainly the president of RSI Restaurants in Seattle, really because of his appreciation for my innate culinary skills and hopefully some innate intelligence packed in with that, trusted me to really become an expert
Yeah.
at menu development, operations, and really understanding all the machinations of having a successful food service operation. So I would have to say definitely him.
Yeah.
Certainly the president and CEO of Larry's Markets, who
Yeah.
allowed me to just continue to grow and expand and really understand how a food service operation can have a tremendous influence on customers of the store and even influence other departments um, to up their game with regards to like back. An example was the amazing chef's cut program we developed at the meat department, just ready to go, beautiful marinated meats and things. I learned a tremendous amount at Starbucks.
Yeah.
There really wasn't a particular individual that I felt was most influenced me, but the total experience was remarkable.
Yeah. It's been an incredible journey for me, kind of being a person that it's in the background, obviously, but knowing, you know, when I first came back was 2006. You'd only been around for a few years at that point. I remember you being on the conference planning in Atlanta was probably the first time I ever met you, and got to spend a little bit of time with you. But watching your role grow within FCSI over those years as well because of that, because I've seen where those connections made it much more meaningful when you were on site somewhere. You know, you went from knowing a handful of people to now you're a semi celebrity because everybody knows you when you walk around the room. And And because of those, you look at the awards you've gotten from FENS, FER, the FCSI awards, and those come because you involved yourself, I guess is really the right way to say it. You didn't expect things to come to you. You went out and got those, and you made the colleague connections and those friends and everything else. And that's, as an association guy, that's what we hope that ever happens for everybody. That's what we try to cultivate, but it doesn't happen for a lot of people.
Well, and that's my viewpoint of life, Wade, and that's how I function. Is if you want things to happen, get in there and do
Right.
it, and
Exactly.
and be present, and embrace people, and listen, and be willing to change
Yeah.
and alter my viewpoints on things as a result of being influenced by others.
Well, this might be the answer to my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because you might have a different way of saying it. But if somebody's thinking about becoming a food service consultant, whether they're a recent college graduate or whether they're looking for a career transition, that they've been in the industry for a while, what is one piece of advice you'd give to somebody thinking about becoming a food service consultant?
Well, um, I will say, first and foremost, reach out and talk to people who are already food service consultants. I would say on average, I talk to at least two people a month who are thinking about becoming
Mm-hmm.
consultants, and I will always make time for that because I think it's very important. I also recommend certain books that people read and really prepare themselves for what could be a very big decision. It is not an easy transition to make from potentially paid employment to stepping out on your own. And
Yeah.
and I want people to be realistic about that, and at the same time be supportive if they make that decision.
Yeah.
I've encouraged many people over the years to join FCSI immediately if
Yeah.
they have made that decision. So seek out people who can really inform you and educate you would be one. And again, with the psychology background, I can't help myself. I really probe why do you want to do this?
Right.
What's your motivation? Because ultimately, whatever it is, whatever that fire inside each of us is, that is ultimately what is going to allow us to be successful.
I completely
And
agree.
you can make an intellectual decision, certainly, to do whatever in life,
Yep.
but you need fire in the belly
You got to love what you do every day.
to,
Absolutely.
yeah,
You got to have the
yeah.
reason to get up and get that day started, especially if you're going to be, you're right. Being a consultant, especially a lot of them are small business owners. You've got to have the fire to continue to go out there and do it every single day.
Well, you
So,
do, and that's a great point. And let me just kind of riff on that for a second. Um, I think that many people out there might think that FCSI is only for big groups, people who have many consultants on their team. Absolutely not true. And you
mm,
probably have statistics about this, but many of us are single proprietors.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
this is partly why also I'm such a huge believer in virtual partnerships and collaborative relationships.
Hmm.
We cannot do it all on our own. I don't care
Right.
how big necessarily your agency is. We
Yeah.
need other people sometimes to round out a team for particular needs with particular clients.
Yeah.
And it has never bothered me at all to be a subcontractor where it isn't necessarily
Yeah.
my brand that's on all of the paperwork, but my contributions are part of the solution for the
Right.
client.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do have the statistics. I can only speak on FCSI The Americas part, but for the Americas, so North and South America, 80% of our membership is small business owners with less than 5 people.
Wow.
So,
Good to
uh,
know.
so a large majority of our people are small business people, and that's
Wow.
why. And I keep that in my mind every time that I'm the event planner as well, and when we're planning a conference, there's a couple things that you'd earlier that I agree. As you know, I plan conferences with the attendee in mind. I don't plan it on what's easier for me as a planner. I don't care what I have to do to get it done. It's what's easiest for the consultant or the attendee, I should say, not just the consultant, but the attendee to walk through that door from the time they're going to register to the time they leave. What's their walk like? And then,
Yes. Yes.
and then also when we're talking about the education, I get involved with the education side of things, but I don't plan a lot of the education of it. That's what our planning committee is for, because I'm not a consultant. I don't know what people want to learn, but we do try to make sure that we're looking at topics that would be applicable to everyone, especially the small operator, because that's really who we're going after. That's who 80% of the people in that room are small businesses. So whatever we're going to do, we have to at least have a few sessions every single conference that's going to give hopefully some nugget of information to that small business owner to go home with.
No, I think it's great. And that now we're really also tied up in that is an ROI on that investment, because it is not an inexpensive proposition for small firms to make the investment of coming to the conference. There's the plane fare and the conference fee and hotels. It's I know, having been on the planning committee, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, taking all that into account, it's crucial.
Not only those costs, but then also the cost of non-billable hours being used, because while you're at my conference, you're not working, making money either. So not only are you spending money to get there, you're losing money by being there. So we really have to make sure that it's worth your while to be there. At least that's what we hope to do anyway. So
you do.
That's all the formal questions I've got for you. But as you know, before we're going to let you go, we have to have a few fun questions. And for season 5, I'm bringing back some of the favorites. So some of these you may or may not have heard.
Toilet paper. Are you going to make me answer over or under? On toilet, skip that one, would you?
There's a good chance that might be in part of it. It's probably the most popular one that everybody talks to me about when they see me out in public. Is that one? It brings up visceral reactions from people at times. So
I know.
So the first one is we'll slowly wade into the deeper waters of the toilet paper.
All right.
Would you rather be able to teleport anywhere in the world or be able to read minds?
I would say teleport, because I'm not sure I want to read minds.
I agree.
And I'll trust my instincts and take that as far as I can on my own.
Yeah. Plus, if you don't like what they're saying, you can just teleport somewhere else.
I don't think I want to know.
Would you rather have all the traffic lights you approach turn green, or never have to stand in line again?
Oh, I never stand in line again.
I agree with that. Would you rather fight a duck the size of a horse, or 100 horses the size of a duck?
A duck the size of a horse. Well, goodness, they would both be very challenging. I'm going to say 100 smaller.
Okay. When it comes to double dipping in food, whether it be a sauce or dip or whatever it might be, when it comes to double dipping in food, yes or no?
Absolutely yes.
All right. Toilet paper roll, over or under?
Over.
Over. Thank you.
Makes me crazy when it's under somewhere.
Favorite curse word?
Favorite do I? Okay. Well, other than the F word, which does leak out on numerous occasions, I would have to say one I grew up with in my small town.
I like that. Yeah. I love the small ones I love the ones from people growing up. My mom had 2 of them that were absolutely amazing and made absolutely no sense whatsoever. So yeah. I love those.
Coming up in a very small town in Eastern Washington, I grew up with some doozies.
Would you rather know all the secrets to outer space or all the secrets to the ocean?
Ooh, I love both. I guess I would say ocean.
Okay. Would you rather never have to do laundry again or never have to wash dishes again?
Oh, I would say laundry.
Okay. Would you rather go backstage with your favorite band or be an extra on your favorite TV show?
Oh, be an extra.
And what TV show would that be on?
Oh, it just gets deeper and deeper, doesn't it, Wade?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Which TV show? All right. Well, it's no longer on, but I would have loved to have been an extra on Will and Grace
Oh, good one.
or The Golden Girls.
Both classics. So those would both be fun
Yeah.
to be on.
I love
you-
comedy.
Would you rather have a personal housekeeper or a personal chef?
Housekeeper. I like to cook for myself.
Would you rather have an annoying song stuck in your head all day long or always have an itch that you can't reach?
Probably an annoying song,
Okay. I always
even though
wonder.
that's very annoying.
I always wonder when people have that question because I ask it now. This will be the second season we've used that on. How many people have an itch the rest of the day phantomly because we talked about it? So,
Yeah.
the last one for you. Would you rather give up your cell phone for an entire month or give up bathing for an entire month?
Well, neither. But because my business depends on my cell phone. Oh, but I'm a clean freak too. That's a terrible question. I guess I'd have to say I can't give up my cell phone for a month. So it's going to have to be bathing. Ugh.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like that question.
That's all the questions I've got. Thank goodness
Thank
for
God.
you. Before we let you go, though, Karen, tell people how they can get in touch with you to learn more about your services and your company.
Okay. So my email is Karen@culinaryoptions.com. My website is www.culinaryoptions.com. And, you can go to the website to also get my my phone number and
Perfect.
email as far as that goes.
Perfect. Well, that wraps up this edition of On Tap presented by FCSI The Americas. A special thanks to Karen for finally joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure to help us out by sharing these episodes on your social media feeds. Until the next episode, cheers.